today's lecture, you were asked to arrive, being able to tell me who this mysterious woman, Sharon Lavigne, is. Who is she? There is no record of her in any law books, but for some reason, I'm asking all of my race and law students to know who she is. So you were asked to come here to tell us a little bit about who she is. So I'm listening for the volunteer to tell me, what did you learn about Sharon Lavigne? Who is Sharon Lavigne, and why would she be relevant to our discussions of race and law? Only Mr. Atkins. I don't see anyone else. I'm listening.
So Sharon Lavigne, she's a civil rights activist, but before she did that, she was a retired special education teacher. And it wasn't until Formosa got approval to build this $9 million plant in the neighborhood that she was living in, that she decided that she needed to do something. And it was interesting because she initially went to these the meetings, the community meetings and everything, to express her displeasure with it. And she was asking everybody, well, what do you want me to do? Sell my house? Am I supposed to move out of here? And instead, they told her that she needed to fight. And that's kind of what sparked her desire to do this, to do the civil rights advocate for the environmental justice. And I just want to point out that one thing that I found out while I was doing my research, which I thought was very interesting, is she is actually mentioned in a Forbes article, 50 over 50 impact, which was the 50 most impactful, which were the women over 50 who are leading the way in impact. And I thought that was just absolutely crazy. That's insane. That's to be featured on the Forbes list like that.
Wow. All right. Good job, Mr. Atkins. I saw Smith. Do you have anything to add?
No, he pretty much said all the things with the petrochemical plant, especially. I think the only detail was it was actually billion instead of million. But
so we know that this is a normal individual who is not trained in law. And we know that somehow law has visited her life and her community in a way that has produced victims. And so one of the things that we learn about in this class is some of the hidden aspects of law that law school does not teach us. And one thing that we keep seeing over and over is that law can produce victims. And so Ms. Lavigne is here with us today to talk to us about how she began her journey fighting against not just law, but legal systems. And so I'm going to now turn over to Mike to her. Theo, did you have something you want to add before she begins talking to us? No? Okay, so Ms. Lavigne, we are just honored. I mean, absolutely honored to have you here with us. And I don't want to take any more time because we want to hear from you. So have at it. But before you start, would you please tell me if you prefer the students to speak to you through the chat, or would you prefer them to interrupt you if they have questions?
I prefer for them to interrupt me if they have questions.
Okay, so if you all want to ask anything or comment, just feel free to interrupt. That's my preference, so they're used to that as well. So thank you again for being here, and we're eager to hear from you.
Okay, well, first of all, it's my pleasure to be here. And when I heard that Southern University wanted to speak with me, I was so happy because I'm a product of Southern University. And I've been other places, but this is one of the places that I would want to be. And I'm so sorry I'm not able to be there in person because I love Southern. And I have 3 daughters who graduated from Southern University. And it's an honor to be here with you all. First of all, I taught school for 38 years. Before I retired, I started doing this work. I started in 2018 after our governor, John Bell Edward, announced that a $9.4 billion industry would be 2 miles from my home. That was the spark that triggered me into praying and talking to God and asking God what I should do. Because the organization that I was in prior to forming Rise St. James, they said we would have to move. They said that all of these industries are coming into our community and we would have to move. And I would cry because I didn't want to move and I didn't know what to do. So I stopped crying and I went to God and I asked him, what did he want me to do? Because my brother and I were sitting around talking about where are we going to move? He said he was going to move in Convent, which is the East Bank of St. James Parish. And I told him moving in Convent wasn't far enough. The pollution would blow from the West Bank to the East Bank also. So I said, I just couldn't set my mind on moving. This is my home and this is where I want to be. So that's when I went into prayer in 2018. And that's when God told me I didn't have to move. And he told me to fight. And that was the spark. And then in October of 2018, I called a meeting in my den. And I had about 8 to 9 people there. And we were all riled up and ready to fight because the other organization, they didn't want to fight. So that one meeting start the thing on the road. It motivated us. And the second meeting I had was in my garage. All that was in October. And on November 3rd of that same year, Rise St. James had our first march against the 2 plants. One was called Wan Wang from China. They wanted to be built on the East Bank of St. James Parish. Then I was teaching school, trying to do my schoolwork and do the work with Rise. And it burnt me out. I couldn't do both. So in October of 2019, I had to retire because I couldn't do both. Because doing this type of work, it takes everything out of you. It takes you away from your family, away from your grandchildren. And I didn't like that. So I had to retire to have a little bit of life left in me. So after I retired, it went even faster. Everything just was going fast, like in a fast lane. And I told Governor John Bell Edward in 2019, when he came to solicit our votes, I asked him, would he stop Formosa from being built in St. James from my home? And he said he would do a health study. I haven't gotten a health study yet. I haven't gotten a meeting yet with him at his office. They wanted me to meet with his staff. I want to meet with him. And from there on, we had our first march in May of 2019, then another march in October of 2019. And it's been going like in a fast lane. And then we formed a coalition, and we call it Coalition Against Death Alley. And me and Robert Taylor are the co-chairs in that coalition. And I spoke to the UN. When COVID came, we couldn't travel. So I spoke to the UN on Zoom and expressed to them how I felt and what I wanted done. I wanted these industries to stop polluting us because people are getting more and more cancer. They're getting sick. They are dying. And I even told the governor on a Zoom message that we have 12 industries within a 10-mile radius, predominantly Black community, which is racism. And they are using us as a sacrifice zone. I call it genocide because you are deliberately killing us. That's what that is. And we thinking about filing a lawsuit against the industries. The lawyer said we can't pinpoint one industry because we have 12. So that's where we stopped. We didn't go any further with it. And we have people that's funding us, that's trying to help us. When they heard our cry, people call me all the time to speak and to tell what's going on in St. James Parish. And I don't mind doing that. And before I started doing this work, I didn't know we had 12 within a 10-mile radius. We got in the car and we counted how many we had. And the public officials in St. James voted for these plants to come in here. I told them, you might be poisoning me, but you're poisoning yourself too. So we feel like they are in the pockets of industry. Why would you vote to poison your community? It got to be a reason. So we think we know the reason. So, and I also had a video that I asked the governor, if this plant will bring so much revenue for the state. Build it in your hometown. I was told when they went to his hometown, the parish president said no. When they came to St. James, our parish president said yes. So we have to get rid of these people that's trying to pollute us. When we went to court.
Do you think the officials in these parishes, do you think that they're allowing this because they believe that the people in these parishes just don't understand what's going on and don't know that these chemicals are rising and everything, and if they just kind of push it off to the side, then they would just get away with it?
I think a lot of the people don't know the effects of the chemicals. When I started this work, older people came to me at church and told me that they didn't know it was that bad, and they didn't know the plants were giving them cancer. One lady has her breast taken off, and she walked around with a breathing machine, and she said it's not the plants, it's sewage, because she had family that works in industry. I have family too that works in industry. I had two brothers, they wound up with cancer. Two brothers. My sister-in-law worked in the industry also. She died of breast cancer. I have a daughter right now that works in the lab as a chemist. She don't want to work there. She want to find another job, but she don't have the money to just leave and go find a job that pay what she's getting right now. So she's asking me to help fund her with a business where she can bake. She loves to bake, and she does well with her baking, but she bakes outside of her home. But a lot of people don't know the effects of the chemicals. That's why I came up with the idea, the chemical of the month. If you follow our Facebook page, you will see the chemical of the month. This is our third month with the chemical of the month, and that's educating the public. Let them see what ethylene oxide is doing to their lungs and brains and all the people that's getting cancer. Yes, Nicholas?
So, ma'am, you're basically saying it's not just one chemical, it's dozens to hundreds coming from each of these different plants.
Yes, it is. It is. And if Formosa would be built, they would bring in also 14 plants inside of the big complex. And that would be over the amount that we have, triple. The air, the toxic, the emissions in the air would be triple in the 5th district where I live. And it would be double throughout the parish. We have only 2 districts in St. James Parish that are being polluted, and the plants are being built there. So they thought when they came to St. James, LDQ violated their own laws. When we filed our lawsuit for the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act, we have 4 law firms. When they heard what we were doing, they got on board with us to help us to fight. And we went to court on Zoom twice. Then we went to court in person. We stayed in court about 6 hours with Judge Trudy White, and she ruled in our favor on all counts. LDQ violated their own laws. And now they can't take the fact that they lost to a little old us. So they're appealing it. They're not going to win. Trust me, they will not win. I told that to the people at the Climate Reality meeting on Friday. When I spoke to them on Thursday, I told it to them again on Friday that they can appeal all they want. You can't break the law and expect to come and do wrong. So LDEQ need to be wiped out. The whole office need to go. Chuck Carl Brown need to go. In the first place, he shouldn't have been in charge of LDEQ because he's a former plant worker. He don't care about our lives. He don't care if we breathe clean air or not. And they picked St. James, the 5th district, because they knew no one was going to speak out. And they were right. No one would not speak out. First of all, they don't know the effects. Like I didn't know the effects either until I went to the help meetings and I learned about these effects. And I learned about the chemicals in the air. Nobody told me anything. I wish I had taken a course. I would have stopped many more from coming in. The Koch brothers, who bought our high school, bought our post office, But if you don't know, you don't know what to do. Education is number one. I preach that to the community. Educate yourselves on what's going on in your community. Had I done that 10 years ago, we wouldn't have 12 right now in the 5th district. My cousin Imelda West fought Shintech. Shintech tried to come on the East Bank where she lived in Convict. She stopped that plant.
Do you mind telling
And
us about the racial composition of St. James? Because some of the students are not from Louisiana. So if we could get an understanding about the population of minorities in St. James and also the leadership there. Do you all have Black elected officials? If you could help us with that, I'd appreciate it.
All right. St. James Parish is about 50-50 Black and white. In 5th district of St. James Parish, it's 83% Black. And I think the 4th district, I think it's like half and half. And the leadership, very poor, uneducated people. A lot of them are not educated. They don't know what they're voting on. You just vote for things. But when it comes down to industry, they all, except for one lady that's on the council, but the rest of them vote for industry to come in here.
Do you believe that they're targeting these certain communities? Because I actually looked up other Formosa industries, and I'm from Indiana, and there's one in Illinois that I had not known about. And I guess there was a big explosion not too about 10 years ago or so. And I started looking up the demographics of it, and it's like you said, it's kind of 50-50 on the race, but when it comes to the actual like per capita, they only make about a medium of $18,000. Do you think they are trying to target these lower income, or do you think they're just basically any kind of community that they think will just turn the other cheek?
They will not contact any other community. They will contact the poor Black communities. That's what they do, because they know no one will speak out. And on our board, our parish council, we have 7 districts. We have 3 Blacks, and the rest is white. We need 4 votes to pass anything. So we have a female that just came on about 3 years ago, and all the rest of them are men. And I could tell she's learning because she asks questions, she reads. And the one that's in the 5th district, not far from my home, I could walk to his house. He voted yes. He said Formosa talked to him a while back, and Formosa offered him money, and he said he didn't take it. Then he said God told him to vote yes to bring this industry in. This industry is going to kill us if this industry is built. And that's what I want to talk to the governor face to face. Again, I plan to see him in Egypt. If he's there, I will confront him in Egypt. They are setting up meetings where I could be in the same room with him and tell him how I feel. I can't catch him in Louisiana. I'll catch him in Egypt.
All right now. Now, one of the things I would like you to help us understand as future lawyers, what role do you see for us in correcting this?
Oh my God, that would be a big help. Help us with understanding the law. Give us information about the racial status of what we're doing and what else we can fight them on. We are fighting them with the Clean Water Act also. We haven't got to that point yet because we won on the Clean Air Act. So we feel like the Clean Air Act should stop everything. So education, that's what we need. We have Rise St. James University. If any of the students would like to teach that class for us, we have it like on a Tuesday night at 6 o'clock for 1 hour. And we have different people come in and do it on Zoom and tell us about the laws, what we can do, and also the responsibilities of local government. And we have one of our council person was on there the first night. So she wanted to know more about the laws.
So what about the students who are not going to be activists, the students who are going to be the judges, the students who are going to be the legal counsel to these plants? the students who are gonna form environmental policy for the federal government, speak to those students and tell them what role you see in them playing in correcting these types of injustices, both here and elsewhere.
I think that they should get all the education that they can. And I think that they should go into the communities and see what's going on, get the facts, learn about what's going on, first of all. And if you could change the laws, that would be a big help to protect the people everywhere, and especially in low-income Black communities. So I think that would be a big help right there. Come to
So
us, help us.
are you saying that you think that these policies are being written by people in their offices who don't
Yes,
really
I
get out
am.
and talk to the okay, so the problem is you think
Yes,
that
I am.
people are not having an understanding of how these policies and laws are going to impact people's lives, and you think that that's the improvement that could happen when it comes to lawyers?
I think so.
Mhm.
For example, the new administrator, Michael Regan, he came to St. James and St. John the Baptist Parish, and he told my daughter the tour that he took changed him. He saw firsthand what was going on. So that's the thing. You have to come and see, not sit behind your desk. That's what I tell them when I speak to the EPA and to the White House. I tell them, come see for yourself. Don't sit down there with your pen and pencil and assume and make these laws. These laws are not for us. They are for you. So firsthand, the student would have to come to the community. If they come to St. James, I would take them on a toxic tour. And I just did one on yesterday, and I missed one today because I had a dental appointment. But I have one again Friday. Then I'll be leaving Saturday night to go to Egypt. But we're always doing toxic tours. And if you go to our website, Facebook page, and you'll see some of the things that we are doing. And we are targeting the public officials.
I see Theo and then Bob Manuel.
Yes, I was going to mention that from the previous question, how can we as lawyer leaders make an impact? I was going to mention grassroots community involvement. That is very important because despite these marginalized communities not having a lot of resources, education can be a very strong and powerful tool and instrument in really raising awareness to a lot of these marginalized communities that don't have a lot of insight into these issues, but they live these issues and they experience these issues every day on a daily basis. And use maybe like in a more tangible sense, we can use research programs, training, and even advocacy in our communities to really bring about awareness.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that. We do need that.
Ms.
So,
Bob Manuel?
so Theo touched on it. I was kind of curious about how we could disperse this information to our communities, but I wanted to know about some of the challenges you face within the community. I know you have a number of supporters, but then you're also going to have a handful of people who are they're stuck in their ways. They don't believe that this is a result of this. And so how do you, what's your approach to that? Because they can form their own community of non-believers, naysayers. So what do you do when you're faced with that?
Come to think of it, I was faced with it about 3 weeks ago when I went to the football game at St. James High. This lady told me that I stopped the plant. People need jobs. I said, I know people need jobs, but not that kind of jobs. I said, people need to live. I said, people are getting cancer. And I said, we need clean air. And she walked away from me, mumbling, grumbling, saying something about God. I don't know. She said, God can stop you from getting cancer. I don't know what she said after that. She walked away. She surprised me because I thought she was a friend of mine. Because last year when I went to the game, she hugged me and told me I was doing a good job. So that let me know that a lot of people telling me these things, but behind my back, they don't want the plant to be stopped because they say it brings jobs. But I say it brings death. But I didn't get upset. That's the good thing about it. When you have God within you, I don't care what they say. I did not get upset. And she's not the only one, but she's the only one that brought it to my face. They say it on Facebook, and I don't even answer Facebook. I don't have time to answer foolishness. This fight is bigger than big. I don't have time to see my grandchildren. I don't sleep much at night because God put these thoughts in my mind and what I should do, and I have to do what He told me to do. So I don't care what anyone say, the governor, the Pope, anyone. So I have so many people that's out of this state that's on my side and commending me, helping me, and asking me what they can do. The same thing you all are saying. What can we do to help you? And I give them suggestions, and some of them come down here to see what's going on. Reverend William Barber, he came down to see what's going on. And a whole lot of other people came. And they are concerned. They want to know all about Council Alley. Council Alley is an 85-mile stretch between New Orleans and Baton Rouge on the River Road. When you go down that River Road from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, chemical plants. But my question to me is, how did it get so many industries? Where was I? Was I sleeping? I didn't know. And when I would smell that air, I thought everybody's air was smelling bad. I didn't know it was just us. So I learned a whole lot since I started doing this work. And I educate myself. I need to get some more things because I'm on 2 or 3 panels in Egypt. And they have these questions I have to go back and read and educate myself so I can know what I'm talking about. I've been to Law Olaf School to speak to students in person. And I've been to Tulane twice. I went to Richmond College in Virginia, and the students were there, and they had a whole room full of students. I'm not a person to speak in front of a crowd, but sometimes I do it, but it's hard. I can speak on Zoom.
Ms. Lavigne, I have a question. Do you, I know you face some challenges with your advocacy, but something on a more deeper level, do you fear for your safety sometimes going against these big petrochemical companies? No?
I do not fear for my safety. My children fear for my safety. My brother say it worries him, but I don't. I don't worry about it. Other people that worries about it, by them always telling me that put a little fear in me, but not really enough to worry about. I was offered a bodyguard, and I said, I don't need a bodyguard. If it gets to that point, I'll let you all know, but I don't need a bodyguard. It's just something in me. And I can tell you this, you can't do this work without God. I wouldn't be doing this work if God hadn't chosen me to do this work. This is a lot of work. It's hard work. You have to educate yourself and know what you're talking about. When you step out there on that video, they're looking to have something to have on you to say you're speaking the wrong things. So I have to educate myself. I can't just go up there and just start talking. I have to know what I'm talking about. And they're waiting for me to slip up. Like for the elections, they thought that my organization was out there doing stuff for elections. Oh, no, we're not. We are not a 501c4. So we know better than to go out there with our shirts and advertise that we are supporting this one or whatever. I have members out there. One of them had on a shirt. Yes, I said, take that shirt off. They're going to associate you with me. They're watching everything that I'm doing, and they're trying to get things on me. So my attorneys, they always advise me and tell me what I should and shouldn't do. So I have 4 attorneys. I would like to have Southern University.
Well, I'm sitting here honestly feeling indicted that lawyers are not doing more and law students. So we will definitely be talking, but I see hands up. So I want to have the students use the time together. Addison and then Fabian.
My question for you is, you mentioned that there's the backlash that the community need those jobs. So how do you differentiate the need of jobs versus the health risk? Because I know that sometimes they say, well, it becomes a health risk after a few years of exposure rather than immediate harm. So how do you guys, or how do you and your organization combat those ideologies?
When they tell me they need jobs, my answer to them is the people in St. James will not get the jobs. If you have 2 at the plant with high paying jobs, you have a lot. Excuse me. When you come to St. James at 5 o'clock and see these people that's knocking off from work, you look at the license plate on the back of their cars. We have done that from Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, Arkansas. The plants build hotels right next to the Sunshine Bridge to house those people from out of town. We don't get the jobs. Outsiders get the jobs. So that's my answer to them. And they shut up after that. And I always tell them, I want life. And life means breathing clean air and drinking clean water and taking a bath in clean water, because I'm tired of itching and a whole lot of more people itching and having rashes on their bodies. And I'm tired of smelling this fumes. I don't know if it's chlorine, if it's ammonia. When I pass down Highway 18 going toward the Sunshine Bridge, you get a whiff of it and it said that's particulate matter 2.5. I learned about that since I've been doing this work. Look how many years I've been passing by there and breathing particulate matter 2.5. The people that worked at that plant told my daughter, the authorities over there said, your mama is doing that because we got to watch her. Let them watch me. I will do it. And LDEQ, they are not helping us at all. LDEQ, they told us whenever we smell something to call this toll-free number. I was faithful calling this number every time I passed by the plant and smell, give them the address, give them the name. I got tired of doing that because I was told they are in the pockets of industry. I don't call anymore. When we went to court and LDEQ told someone, the attorney that works for LDEQ said that they know my name because I call so often. That's true. I don't call anymore because they are not on our side. They are not on the sides of the people. They need to be sued. They need to be out of office. But I need help with that also. If we had the funds,
I'm sorry.
if we had the funds, we would hire an attorney. We don't have the funds. Okay, sorry.
No, I appreciate you sharing that. So one of the needs is obviously for some legal assistance. We're
Yes.
hearing this. Fabian, Nicholas, Theo, and then Kenyatta.
So my question was similar to Mr. Addison's in that I think it's hard to, I first want to say that I agree with you. I'm an Oregonian, so being environmentally friendly was just something that was natural to me as I was growing up, like recycling and all that kind of stuff. But I think that it's hard to get people in more rural communities to understand the long-term effects of like the environment and pollution. Because even just, I've lived here for 2 years and I've noticed a complete difference in my skin and just like allergies due to pollution. And, but it's like, how do we get our community members to understand that? But then we also have to support them, because when you're living in poverty, you can't think about the environment. You're just trying to support your family and pay bills.
Right.
So where do we go from there?
I think that we should do more outreach to the young children and the schools. Someone asked me if I go to the schools and speak about this. No, indeed, the school board is in with the industry. They won't let me speak. When they found out I was doing this work, they wanted to transfer me to another school. And I told them I wasn't going, and I didn't go. So I just went on and retired. I just started doing this. But education, it should be in the schools. But I don't think they're going to put it in the schools because they're going to stop their funding from industry. Industry was supporting this teacher with her class. She called Rise St. James crying to ask us to help her. And we did. I called somebody in another state and they sent her the funding to teach her class. And they also asked us to help them with the banquet. For most, it was only paying $1,700 for the banquet. I said, is that all they paid? They won't even pay for the football equipment. They wanted a trailer to bring the equipment from one place to another, and they told me it'd be close to $10,000. And I said, well, why Formosa's not paying for these things since y'all support them? You don't support me, but you support industry. So why not? They don't see it. They don't connect the dots. You begging us that's fighting the plants, but you won't expose the plants for what they're not doing. So we have one student at that school. We had her to speak before the parish council meetings. And after she spoke, they gave us some nice comments. And that was it. Nothing else happened after that. She was telling them that we have too many plants over here, but they didn't even do anything about it.
If I could just add one more thing, I think that it could also be a gradual change. Like instead of just abolishing plants, we could gradually move to combating the pollution with like, recycling, like just simpler things. And do you think that's like an option too? And we can just gradually get rid of plants, or do you think that it just has to kind of end?
I think we need to move away from so much plastics. The chemicals that's used to make the plastics, that's cancer-causing chemicals. I found that out while I was doing this work. And like your plastic straws, your cutlery, those are made from chemicals that's causing us to have cancer. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us have plastic in our blood. I was tested already. I have it in my blood. And I have so many different other chemicals in my blood. So people don't know. So like I said, education. We send out information to the public. We put information in the newspaper. We want them to read. We put it on Facebook. We want people to read for themselves what's going on. We give events for Juneteenth. We give flyers, pass out flyers with information on it. We go door to door sometimes. Whenever we pass out a turkey, we have a flyer with that turkey. So they can get the turkey, plus you can read about what Rise St. James is doing. Or you can read about New Star that's polluting us. New Star have storage tanks. They're so old, look like the oil comes on the side. And nobody says a word, but the people in that area are dying. They call me, and I do what I can. And it's hurtful.
So before we get to Nicholas and Kenyatta, I want to make sure we're leaving here with an understanding of what you advocate for a solution. So if I'm understanding you, one, you don't think there should be additional plants. Two, you think that if the population stops its reliance on the plastics, then there won't be a need for these plants. So it would ultimately shut them down. Is that sort of the solutions you're seeing?
That's sort of solution.
So we need to begin to understand how to live without plastics is sort of the angle to shutting these plants down. Got it. Nicholas and Kenyatta.
That's the first step. That's right.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am. So I guess my question would be, at this point, as you've said, the governor won't do anything, city council won't do anything, or parish council. So I guess with the only solution at this point being you and your fellow activists running for each separate seat on the council, taking over, and then just banning it altogether.
No, I can't run. I was asked to run, but God didn't tell me to run. He told me to do this.
Kenyatta?
I have so many thoughts and comments. I'm trying to see which one would be the most, what I really need to know the most. But first, I want to say that I'm from Louisiana, and I know firsthand, all the things that you're talking about and the things that you've experienced. And you look just like my grandmother. And it really warms my heart to see you so passionate about trying to right this wrong. And like you said, maybe 10, 12 years ago, you didn't know, but now you do. And to me, it seems that Cancer Alley is a term that in the recent years, I say most Louisianians have become familiar with. And I've seen things go viral on social media. So I think that people are aware that this is occurring, but for some reason, we're not getting that galvanization of the state behind this issue. And I know that you said it's because industry is so powerful in Louisiana. I guess my question would be for people, for someone who was like you, a decade or so ago, who didn't know, what would you say would be a great or good starting point to expose someone to this information? I'll just be honest, a lot of people don't like to read. I don't like that for us. I don't like that for us, but unfortunately, it has some truth to it. Do you think that where can someone get this information in a way that's digestible to them and that's easily accessible? Is there something online? Is there something you recommend people watch? Or is there any go-to resource that you rely on as far as education?
Facebook, Instagram. Our media person stays public, putting things on Facebook and on Instagram. And go to risestjames.org and just follow what we're doing. And we do have things on there that you can learn. We have education on there. And just like I said, you have to educate yourselves. People in high school need to take courses, environmental science or whatever it takes. And we also, we have a need to want to get more young people involved. My daughter, she's mostly trying to handle that part, trying to figure out how to get the young people involved. One way that we do that, we do an essay contest for Black history. And we do one sometime for our Juneteenth event. And we have speakers. And some of them come, even the older people, I didn't know that. We educate them like that. But Facebook, everybody I know is on Facebook. So we put things out there on Facebook, like the chemical of the month. It's on Facebook. A lot of things that we do is on Facebook.
Okay, thank you. And I'll definitely make it a point to bring this issue up in conversation, just to see where people's head is at, how much they know about it, how much they want to know about it. I think if we can start discussions amongst, my age group, I think that, maybe we can begin to get the ball rolling. Because I've never just, a lot of topics get brought up, police brutality and things like this, but I've never too much heard people just mention the environmental issues that our community is facing. So I think just I'll do my part. A small part I can do, I know, is just to, begin to start that conversation with my peer group and my friends and family.
And stop the plastics also. Theo? Is that a hand up, Theo?
Yes, Professor. I had a question for Ms. Lavigne yet again. So upon achieving your goal, because I know your efforts are not just going to just happen just because you want to do it. You also want to achieve your goal. So your goal is achieved. What next? What moves are you willing, do you have in plan?
Our plans are to stop any other industry that tried to come into St. James Parish. We are keeping close watch on these industries. And I have a friend of mine in Washington said that whenever he hear about something coming, he will send me an email. Because whenever we hear about it, it's already done. Our parish officials, they already approved these things prior to us finding out about it. So we want to be more vigilant with everything that's going on in the parish. And that's a lot to do because we have to fight the newspaper. public things, sometimes it's not true. And we have to be on it. We have to make sure we read it and respond to it. And before I had help, I was doing all of that. I was doing a lot of the work myself. And I would get the attorneys to go to edit it and read it so I'm saying the right things. And so I did all that myself when I first started. That's why I have to cool it a little bit. I was doing too much. But now I have my 2 daughters on with me now.
Do you also feel like your community is rising to the occasion now that they see your efforts?
No.
Because I'm wondering if that is communicating a message also. You know, if there were a community that was a united front, would this be a lot easier? But when the plants are not seeing the entire community as an opposition to this, some of the community seems to favor it, then it looks like it's the lone wolf. And I'm wondering, if that's an obstacle at this point, that the community's not doing their part either.
The community is not doing their part. Trust me. That's why I'm so worn out and tired.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had 50% of the community behind me, I would feel better. To the point where I'm at church and I could just hear them talking. And I was at church Sunday and somebody said, "Well, they got so many people that hate you." I said, "I don't care. I'm going to do God's work. I don't care." But they got a lot that like me too. But I don't care who like me and who don't like me. I have to do what I have to do. And I have an intern that's coming in January. She's going to be with me for 6 months. She's coming from New York. She's going to come and work with me for free. She's going to help me out. I have a lot of work for her to do. Because we will target the industries in St. James. And I know that they're going to hate me even more, but I don't care. That's why I need more legal help. Because I notice sometimes the schools that's helping me look like some of the things I brought to them 2 years ago, I haven't gotten it yet. So I'm beginning to wonder. I don't know. I want a moratorium. I've been crying for that for 2 years. I haven't gotten it yet. And they say we're going to have another meeting. When are we going to do whatever it takes to stop, to get a moratorium? Moratorium on no more industry to come into St. James Parish. That's what I want. I haven't gotten that yet. What is the holdup? I don't know. I really don't know. So that's why if they don't do anything, I'm going to somebody else. Somebody who can help me to get what I'm looking for. Once we get a moratorium, we can rest. You don't have to worry about nothing else coming in. All right, we stopped this plant, South Louisiana Methanol, wanted to come wrap around our park. The other councilman told me that we should sell that park. When he was running, I didn't vote for him. I said, sell our park? Are you crazy? That's the only park we have. He wanted us. I said, we voted him out. And now this other one got in there and he want Formosa to come in and finish us off. So I want a moratorium on any industry from coming into St. James Parish. I want the ones that's there, if they can't stop polluting us, shut them down. I want DEQ to be wiped out. We don't need DEQ if we got to monitor these people ourselves. They want us to have air monitors. You got to have a certain kind. Tulane gave me an air monitor, and it's a very expensive one. What do you do with the data? I'm tired of collecting the data and nothing is being done. When I went to DC last week to March, I told them, why should we have an air monitor? And our air is toxic. We're dying. We're telling you, the air is being polluted. Why you don't shut them down? The man put his head down like that. He couldn't answer me. It was one man and 3 women. They couldn't answer me. So why should I monitor the air? You already know the air is toxic. The air monitors that we had, they say it wasn't a reliable one with the data. So give us the one that's reliable. But that one costs so much. You don't care. You're trying to stall us while people are steady dying. And those are the things I told them. I told them more than that. I can't remember everything. I should take notes or something because I told him a lot. And the man just put his head down. I'm tired of talking. We need action. Shut them down. Nucor told us they were polluting us for 6 years. LDEQ gave them a fine of $86,000. That's a slap in our face. I want to sue. I'm tired of talking.
So the only penalties you've seen so far are just fines to these plants. There's been nothing else, nothing beyond fine.
Nothing else. They don't even shut them down.
And you do have the data at this point showing that the air is being polluted by that particular plant, or can that ever be established?
I don't know if it was for the parish on the West Bank and the East. And
are you seeing the challenge with trying to prove who's the culprit? Because there's so many offenders, is that an obstacle to you as well, that when you get this data showing there's pollution, you don't know who's causing the pollution, and so everybody's obviously going to say it's the other person?
That's right. That's the problem we're having right now. Our attorneys say we don't know which one to sue, which one give this. So when the lady come next in January, we're gonna evaluate all the industries and tell which one is if releasing ethylene oxide, which one is releasing benzene. We'll be able to break it down. That takes work. So I don't have anyone to help me with that. That's what I need help with.
Yes. Okay.
Once you have the proof and you got it on paper, you can go to court with that. And it'll stand up because it's against the law. To pollute is over the limit what they are doing to us. The EPA stated themselves. The EPA sent us a 56-page telling us about the pollution and the ethylene oxide and about Denker, Formosa, and all these different things. Our attorneys, I have it in my computer. I have so many things that we have done over the years, proof of different things. But I need help to get it to where an attorney would pick it up. And if you got to sue one at a time, you sue one, you're going to stop them. It's sad. It really is.
I think we're out of time, and some of the students have a class after this, so I don't want to hold anyone any longer. This is a conversation that really needs to continue, and I am just so thankful that we had the beginning of what obviously is going to continue. I want so badly to aid you in this, and so I'm going to talk to you separately after I have an appointment, so I'll contact you separately. But for now, I just want you to have the assurance that you were heard by people who share your concern. All of these students are in law school because they have a consciousness about leaving to be different kinds of lawyers. Everybody's not an activist in here, but somebody in this room will be interested in fashioning solutions to make sure this does not happen to communities on their watch. So I want you to have that assurance that everybody is not going to continue being a part of this problem. And I just owe you a salute for being a warrior and a soldier. And it is so obvious that you've been called to do this. I know that you will be relentless in your efforts, and I know you'll be successful because the wrong is so visible. You don't really have to tell the story, it is visible. It's an issue now of whether people are going to be moved out of concern for the populations affected or by profits. That's what this is really about now. And it speaks a lot to our government's concern for citizens in the state when you have this type of evidence of people being harmed by corporations and a lack of will to do anything about it. So I see a comment in the chat. Please make sure you notice the comments. And in our final moments, if anybody wants to send a comment or say a thank you, by all means, please let Ms. Lavigne know that she did not waste this hour with Professor Bell's Law and Racism class today. You just started something, and we're just thankful for you being willing to come and share this with us. We're very grateful. So everybody, if you don't mind, can we close out with some applause, some thank you, some appreciation, some love for Ms. Lavigne. And I'll be back in touch with you after this separately. But thanks again for what you have done for this class and what you do for the not just community of St. James, but for the people of Louisiana, because we're all a beneficiary from your work.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.